Just
Hello, John. How are you? You're looking
Hello,
well.
Ian. I'm fine, thank you. I don't have any leaks anywhere.
Have
I've
you
got
had
a
your,
top
what's it?
plumber.
Have you had your filter pulled out?
No, I've had my faucet fixed.
Oh, golly good. You've got new washers.
I'm in wonderful condition.
Oh, golly good.
sorry, I asked.
Oh,
All right, Dave.
aren't we all? Right then.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. I've not admitted all. I've got to watch what I'm doing here, guys. This is never a clever thing to hand over chairmanship to me. I'll do two things at once. Right. I think we have a quorum. So if Dave the Beard, the streamlined Dave the Beard, would like to progress. Are you right, mate?
I'll finish off the cricket, and as Chris mentioned previously, the scores, barring odd game or so, were terrible. The game last week, Notts already 231 in front against Lancashire, declared at 339 for 8, leaving Lancashire 443 to win, but they fell short by 102 runs. In the latest fixtures, Yorkshire are put in a low-scoring game, and it is against Warwickshire, need a further 174 runs to win, and that'll probably be the highest total in that match if they get that. I think it's about 230. I forgot to put what score they were. Sorry. Lancashire, 373 all out, bowled Somerset out for 90. So they're on the way to an innings win. Somerset were 226 for 4 at close, requiring another 57 to make Lancashire bat again. While Notts, Hampshire 133 for 7 against Notts in their second innings, lead Notts by 204 runs. Last day, I think, for most of the games today, or third day, I'm not quite sure which. Sorry.
Third day, I think.
Third day, that's it, yeah. Rugby league. Sorry. Ian.
Rugby league. Yeah.
Bad timing when you were having your coffee. I didn't look up. I waited a second. St Helens had a comfortable win against the Leeds Rhinos, 40 points to 6. While one of the shocks, Catalans Dragons, 18-0 up at one stage, 18-12 at half time, managed to lose by 18 points to 30. Huddersfield scoring 18 unanswered points in the second half.
Yeah, the biggest shock, United got 6 goals.
Yeah.
Are you bringing that one up?
That is one of the shocks, yeah. I said there's quite a few shocks in results here, there and everywhere. Different things.
I noticed that Keith, having been quiet for a few months, came out at woodwork following that one. Yeah.
As I did remark a bit sarcastically, it was Peterborough.
Yeah.
Do not get carried away, guys.
Certainly not.
They did look good in the TV highlights, though.
They did actually play some good football, but as you say, it was Peterborough, and whether they'll struggle against a better defence. But
Yeah.
they've put the ball in the net, and at the end of the day.
Come on, Dave. Tell us about dirty Leeds getting thrashed by Liverpool. Come on now.
13 Leeds, isn't it? 13 Leeds.
I'll start with Liverpool, yeah.
Yeah.
Liverpool against dirty Leeds. I'll get the terminology right. Won 3-0. The victory was marred by a bad injury to Harvey Elliott, who was stretchered off with a suspected dislocated ankle. He's to undergo surgery this week.
They put it back before he went to hospital.
Did they?
Yeah,
Just.
which was apparently vital that they did it then, because otherwise it cuts off the blood supply, and you could lose the foot.
It completely turned it 180. The tackle, which got a red card, and I'd be interested in Brian's view here. it was almost identical tackle made later by another player against Mane. But because he didn't crash into his legs, but he still tried to wrap his leg around to get the ball, same style of tackle, he didn't get even booked. And I think, as you probably gathered, I'm a Liverpool supporter, and I do feel for Harvey Elliott. I think it's desperate, but I'm not sure it's red card, and I think it might.
No, I think I agree with you, Ian.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And
What
It
does
was Leeds.
It's
It
not
was
seen it
Leeds.
at all. Yeah.
It was
every tackle
Leeds.
from a Leeds player is a red card.
Just get him off. Send him off.
That was my view. I've not seen it, but it was worthy of a sending off.
was it? Because it was Leeds. Oh, right.
I haven't
was
seen
Leeds.
it. I haven't seen it, but it was a definite sending off.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Move on. I mean, it's just a given. It's a given.
Hey, Ian, they accuse us of being biased.
Was there a bloke sat? Was there a bloke sat on a bucket on the touchline as well?
Oh,
What?
gnome.
Why does he do
Should
that?
get-
Why does he
should
do
get-
that?
Has he got an interpreter?
Yeah.
Yeah. You obviously told him it's best seat in the house.
Is he really that good, Bielsa?
He's got his own bucket.
I think he's
We'll
been.
find out by the end of this season, because hopefully they'll have second season syndrome like us.
Yeah, I hope you're right.
All these top coaches rave about him, but I can't see what's so special about him. He
He is a-
drives the players hard, and then they can't last the season out.
Well, Klopp could
Can
be
they understand
criticised
him
of
if he can't
that.
speak English?
He's a bit
How do they
eccentric.
understand?
Sorry, Keith. Go ahead. Sorry, Keith. Go ahead.
I just wonder how they understand him. Because
Yeah.
he can't
Well-
speak English, which is a common language, but
Ridiculous.
I don't think they're all from the same language as him, are they?
Keith,
No.
Mind you,
Keith, I've got to stop you there. The manager's common languages. That's all
Yeah.
you need to do. And at the end, if you're Klopp, you tug them.
mind you, if I did a rough count for this weekend's games, and out of the 22, out of all the matches, how many players were not overseas players out of the 290 odd?
About 20%.
97 were British, or I think they were British.
Yeah.
The rest, it's ridiculous. There's more bloody Croatians playing than Scots in the Premier Division, and that sort of thing.
I thought
You need a
Croatia
manager
was
who
part
can-
of Scotland.
Who speaks a foreign language these days?
That's because there's no good Scottish players, Peter.
Yeah.
Move on,
It was
Dave. Get us out of
supposed-
this hole.
It was supposed to stop with Brexit, wasn't it? Because they can't just come.
Yeah.
They've got to meet certain standards.
Yeah.
Well, they're bringing him in on rubber boats now. Anyway, that's another story.
Well, what used to happen was that the South American players ended up playing in Portugal, didn't they? To get European citizenship. They
Yeah.
circumvented it that way, which is all.
But now they can't come. Now they can't, or theoretically can't come in. I mean, that was when we were in the EU, and you could go anywhere.
But can I just
But now
mention, talking about
there's supposed to be some sort of restrictions on who we can import.
There are. But
talking about South American players, my hero, Lionel, scored a hat-trick in a 3-0 win against Bolivia and surpassed the great Pele's
Yes.
total with the top scoring South American player in history now.
I missed that.
Yeah, he's in front of Pele by 1 or 2, I think.
That's made your day, hasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
have a lot of time for Mr. Pele.
Well, no, it's like no, I won't go into the depths of that. A great player, but I think like it's not. Stop stirring. It's the media. It's the media. They get a really good player, and all of a sudden they're walking on water, and it just annoys me how they exaggerate ability of somebody who's already a top player, and
Yeah.
suddenly they become mystical. And there's only one mystical player, and that's Lionel, as we know. But anyway, but it was good. It was good as someone who dislikes Ronaldo to see the bloke come back and score a couple of goals. You cannot deny his top class goal scoring ability.
Yeah, moving on. He's a mank. He's a
I'll
returning
just go
mank.
back a few days to last week. Latest round of World Cup qualifiers ended with England drawing 1-1 in Poland. Still clear at the top of their group, while Northern Ireland earned a creditable 0-0 draw against Switzerland, with the Owls on loan keeper, Bailey Peacock Farrell, saving a penalty, making it the third consecutive penalty save for club and country.
Blimey.
It was also the first time in the history of Northern Ireland team that a goalkeeper has made back-to-back penalty saves in consecutive matches.
Gosh.
Scotland beat Austria 1-0 to give themselves a chance of runners-up spot, while Wales had a disappointing 0-0 draw at home to Estonia. And you touched on Ronaldo there and his 2 goals. That sort of overshadowed most of the football. Couldn't turn a newspaper page over without it being Ronaldo. So I'll leave it there. Mentioned his 2 goals, but great goal scorer, as you said.
I wish you would leave it.
Wish he played for us. Right, Formula One.
I think we're down a storm with the feminist group protesters outside the stadium.
Yeah, they had a plane flying overhead for most of the match.
Did
Oh, yeah.
He's got a £56 million lawsuit still outstanding.
Oh, right, I see.
Been from an accusation of rape. Was it in New York? Oh, I can't quite remember. Anyway,
Vegas, I think. But
No fairy tale.
He's got Mendy as a character witness.
He's got who?
Is it Mendy?
Steady, boys. I'll have to edit.
Yes, please.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Thank you. I don't have to edit now. Carry on.
Italian Grand Prix. Main talking point obviously was the collision between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen on the 26th lap, with Hamilton fortunate to escape in one piece. The halo head protection on Hamilton's car probably saving his life. Apparently the FIA are now going to investigate the incident.
I heard they'd already given Verstappen a grid penalty.
Yeah, three places on the grid. Yeah.
Three places.
What struck me about that, because I saw it, was it happened very quickly. Hamilton knew nothing about it, to be honest. He came up behind him. He was protected. But yet I nearly said after the match, but after the hullabaloo, I could have lost my life, up to my neck in muck and bullets. Calm down, son. You're through it. You're a professional. You were saved, What was disappointing was Verstappen just walking away. I think he might have stopped and said, "Are you all right, mate?" Yeah,
he didn't even look back, did he?
No.
I think there's a little bad feeling there.
He said he'd seen Lewis Hamilton try to reverse, so he knew he was all right.
He did. He definitely did. Tried to reverse.
Yeah, over Verstappen.
Going back to your up to your neck in muck and bullets, who used to say that?
Arthur Ames.
Arthur Ames.
Yeah. I loved him.
With Nicholas Parsons.
Yeah.
Class.
But going back to the incident, Nicholas. Going back to the incident, Hamilton did have, he had come out and he did have the right position, and Verstappen kept cut back into him. That's why I think he got the penalty. Some were trying to say it'll be called just another incident, 50-50. It wasn't. He had established the line, and Verstappen came at the back of him because he's so keen to beat Hamilton. I don't mind that bit. It's, at the end of the day, when you see a mate in trouble, you should say, "Are you all right?" Even if you just pull him out and leave him on the floor, do something about it.
Yeah. Fernandez.
Yeah.
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 As for
Another
the
rant.
race itself, it was a 1-2 for McLaren, with Daniel Ricciardo winning with teammate Lando Norris second. It was McLaren's first win since the 2012 Brazilian Grand Prix. And who was the driver?
2012.
2012
McLaren.
for McLaren, yeah.
Can't remember.
I think was it somebody like
Jenson Button.
Correct.
Damon?
Jenson
Was it
Button.
Jenson Button? I thought it was British, but I'm way further back than that.
And then it was the first one, McLaren's first 1-2 since 2010 Canadian Grand Prix. Who were the drivers then?
Well, it must be Jenson Button.
Correct. Yeah.
And Hamilton.
Yeah. Hamilton first, Button second.
And I wonder if that's the first anniversary since a 1-2 where they've actually obeyed team orders. Like now they're told to stay in second place and not to overtake Ricciardo. You wouldn't get that in Ferrari or Mercedes, would you?
No.
Say something if it's Ian, shut up.
I don't like the idea of team orders. There should be 20 drivers trying to win the race.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can go along with that.
Yeah.
Money, yeah.
Yeah, I know, Paul.
Yeah. Go on, Dave.
The BMW PGA Championship was the final round of qualifying for Europe's Ryder Cup team. The event itself was won by Billy Horschel on 19 under, and he isn't even in the US squad and didn't receive one of the US captain's 6 wild cards. The European Ryder captain, he had 3 wild cards, and they've gone to Shane Lowry, Sergio Garcia, and Ian Poulter, while Justin Rose missed out despite a final round of 65, finishing joint 6 on 16 under. Nearly there.
I think just to interrupt there, I think the selections are based on consistency though, not on just on the one round. Justin Rose hasn't been consistent enough. Because I keep calling her my little sister. She's my younger sister. She is a fan of Justin Rose. She's been lady captain of Hillside, which is one of the qualifying rounds when they play at Birkdale. So she's into her golf. And Rose visited Hillside some years back, so there's an affinity there. And she was very saddened by the fact that Rose wasn't picked, but she herself says he's just not been consistent enough, and you need that in a team game, That's what she's saying. Don't know what others say, but that's what she said.
Garcia and Poulter were inked in, really, weren't they? It was Rose or Lowry, really.
Yes. Yeah. Lowry didn't do too badly, Dave, in the last competition. Didn't he come 3rd or 4th or something?
Oh yeah, somewhere like that. Yeah.
God, Westwood's done all right, hasn't
he? Yes. Yeah.
Have you seen the average age of the 2 teams?
No.
Miles apart. It's the new boys versus the oldies. It's ridiculous.
Americans being the new ones.
Disparate difference. The Yanks are much younger.
Yeah.
There's not much young talent coming through in Europe, is there?
Doesn't seem to be.
It'll be America versus the rest of the world before very long. Carry on, Dave.
Local rugby league.
He's a big lad. He comes from Wigan.
He's missed it. He's missed it. Don Fox.
Oh, the poor lad.
The poor lad.
Sheffield Eagles' disastrous season continued with a home defeat, 34 points to 28 to Swinton Lions, the championship bottom side. This defeat left the Eagles third from bottom. I think there'll be a wholesale clear out there somehow at Sheffield Eagles. Football, onto unexpected scorelines for United and Wednesday. United winning 6-2 at the Lane and Wednesday losing 3-0 at Plymouth. Elsewhere,
Mighty Plymouth.
Barnsley lost 3-0 to Bournemouth. Rotherham lost 4-2 at home, and Doncaster lost to Wigan. Well, in the FA Cup, Handsworth FC, after beating a certain Coventry United, have been drawn away at Hales Owen Town, one step above them in the pyramid. In the second qualifying round, the match being played this coming Saturday. Sheffield Tigers Speedway crashed to a 54-36 defeat in their return fixture at Bellevue last week. However, Kings Lynn's defeat at Wolverhampton guaranteed the Tigers a top four finish and a playoff spot. In the next fixture, it was against Kings Lynn away. The Tigers were pegged back in the last three heats, resulting in a 45-45 draw. And finally, boxing. Rotherham boxer Cash Ali, IBF European Heavyweight Champion, defends his title against German boxer Roman Gorst this Saturday at Pons Forge. And also on the same bill, Sheffield's Tommy Frank fights Birmingham's Matt Windle for the vacant British flyweight title. Over and out.
Well done. Thanks very much, Dave. Right.
Well done, Dave.
Chris,
Ian.
I was just going to ask you, have you got something in the way of films?
Films.
Or whatever?
Sports films coming week.
Sorry. Yeah, yes, but I haven't prepared it. Sorry. If you give me 2 minutes, I can tell you what I know, but I'll have to just leave the screen for a moment.
Don't worry.
I'll do it. Just one quick thing. If the group would find it in any way interesting, next Tuesday is day one of Yorkshire versus Nottinghamshire, or the other way around, Notts versus Yorkshire, at Trent Bridge, which I'm going to be at. And I'll call in for the second part. Yeah. There'll have been half an hour's play, and I'll give you whatever has happened or might happen, sort of thing. And I'll do it from the ground on my phone.
A live outside broadcast.
So there'll be no cameras or sound crew involved. It's just me on my phone. but I'll find a quiet corner of the Ratcliffe Road end if you want me to. I mean, if you don't want, but that's the way I could join the call. I'll just join it and say, well, you know, so and so's won the toss and he's batting and he's bowling, and just give you the benefit of.
Chris, if you're prepared to do it, it's only of being a right cock up, because I'm also chairing next week.
Oh God!
To do it, let's go for it. How about anybody?
Well, I'll try and do it. I'll try and do it.
Possibly go
you
wrong.
Remember Coleman balls, do you, Ian?
Yeah. It'll totally impartial. I've got foot in both camps. I'll be completely unbiased, of course.
Yeah.
But let's hope Notts win. But I will be completely unbiased. I will be completely unbiased.
Will you be able to go?
It'll be like Raymond Glendenning all over again.
Will you be able to go onto the pitch and interview the players?
I'm going to take my car keys to see if I can do an insertion of the car key in the wicket, but I might just be escorted somewhere if I attempt that. Unlike the two umpires who weren't umpires, who were allowed to go onto a test match wicket now with a can of lager each. That happened at Trent Bridge.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maximum security. Two guys walked on beginning of the afternoon session. They clearly weren't the umpires, but stewards don't know that. Of course not. And they got to the wicket and then opened a can of lager each. And
Didn't do any damage.
well, no, but if it had been a can of oil, even a can of anything, they could have actually destroyed the game. But that did happen. I was there. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen because they'd got the entire Nottingham Rugby Club, I think, defending the square as stewards, and nobody gave it the slightest thought. And they just went on.
If the meeting permits, I can tell you a story about Nottingham Rugby Club.
Go on then.
When I was playing for Liverpool Rugby Club, I just left school. A next door neighbour called Bill Miller was the captain of the school side. We both managed to get into the Liverpool team, to Liverpool seconds, which wasn't bad for us. And the big away game was, wait for it, Nottingham. You know, that was the trip of the season.
Right.
Between us, long story short, but after the game and a few beers, we lost 4 hours. We just never to this day can remember what happened in 4 hours. But we were poured onto the coach and driven home. And I had this duffel coat on. Do you remember the days of the duffel coat?
Yeah.
And in those days, you didn't stop to go to the wee. You were just positioned at the front door and somebody held on to you while you did what you gave up. Regrettably, I fell out of my duffel coat. And it was about a mile down the road before they realised I'd fallen out and couldn't double back. So they had to go off the slip road, go back, come back on the slip road to find me. And I was still apparently, I don't know, this is one of the 4 hours, allegedly still sat there going, I was poor.
Been like that ever since.
Yes. Well, I landed on my head, but that's another story. But I got back in, and somebody who still had a brain cell on the coach said, we'll go back across the Runcorn Bridge because these two live in Woolton, which is
Runcorn Ferry.
Yeah, near Runcorn Ferry. They stopped those, but across the Runcorn Bridge, said we'll drop them off, and we were dropped off, literally poured out onto the pavement, and I staggered back into the house. You know, one of these typical things you see all the. Awake everybody, and I poured myself into the bed, and I was there until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I ventured to get out of the bed and what have you. My mum and dad, who were strict disciplinarians, never said a word. You know, did you enjoy your game, son? And I said, blah, 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 blah. I said, yes, fabulous game, thanks very much. Enjoyed the trip? Yeah, fine. Nothing was said. The week goes by. I'm at university and come back home again for the next. And my little sister, Sally, tells me, you know what happened, don't you? You got away with it by the skin of your teeth. I said, why? Because Mr. Miller got out Sunday morning only to find Bill Miller fast asleep on his doorstep and everybody in the road talking about it. That's how he got away with it. Yeah, that was Nottingham. 4 hours of buzz with the beer and all the rest of it. And
I'll be parking my car next to that pitch next Tuesday.
Right.
Not on the square.
But I won't get on the square now.
Right, we've got 8 minutes. Has anybody got any quizzes or stories they want to tell? Anything to keep me quiet?
How many minutes do we got?
8 minutes 25 and counting.
I'll just tell you about going to a test match at Trent Bridge, and there's a field round the corner from the ground that it gets used as a car park. And I was driving with a couple of friends in the car that we were going, and we got to the gate, and the guy who was on the gate and marshalling people in and showing them where to go was the guy who was normally on the gate at the car park at Trent Bridge for Benson Hedges games, so I knew him. So I just said, "Where do you want me today, Harry?" "Oh, Peter," he said, "oh, go over there next to Brian Johnston's car," which was about 10 yards from the gate, you know. So, and my friends were far more impressed with that incident than they were anything to do with the cricket of the day. That I was told to go and park next to Brian Johnston's car.
Wow.
Gosh.
Down your way.
It was always good if you knew the car park attendants at Trembridge.
Mm.
Ian,
Yes.
can I just ask Brian what you thought of the referee against Poland, the German referee? Did he think he was biased?
No, I didn't think you were biased. I thought it perhaps in seeking to try and keep the game flowing, perhaps let a little bit more go than he would do if he had the chance to referee it again.
It just seemed to be on Poland's side a little bit first half.
Definitely first. I agree with Dave. First half. Yeah.
I don't think that's the case because I mean I can only speak personally, but when you're refereeing, it's like blues against whites. It's not Poland against England, or if I were to referee Sheffield Wednesday against Sheffield United, it'd be blues against reds. It wouldn't be that club against that club, and you give your decisions so quickly. You actually giving what you believe. I think.
Are you excluding Graham Poll from that comment?
Yeah, I don't think. I'm not saying that everybody wouldn't do it, but
no.
I think most referees give it the way they see it, and sometimes you know what we don't see is the things happen in the blink of an eye, and if you're just looking at something else, you just happen to be looking at something else that you could quite easily be looking at because something could take your attention. You've missed it, and you've missed the most obvious of incidents. And I'll go back to the one I think I told people when I went to Crystal Peaks. The incident that immediately springs to mind for me is I was on the line at Nottingham Forest, and George Courtney was the referee, who was the referee of my era. And I was on the line, and this ball was kicked. It hit a player. It went out for throwing. So let's say it were a Nottingham throwing, and I put my flag up to Reds, right? And everybody started laughing, right? And George Courtney, what referee, just smiled sweetly at me and pointed the other way. Right, and I thought, well, fair enough, George. You're the referee. You take all the flack. If you want to get it horribly wrong, that's entirely up to you. And we just got on with it. And after the game, you always get a video of the match. And I watched this particular incident, and this ball that had hit the guy on the way out was literally 5 yards off this guy. Right, and I'd flagged because it had hit him, right? But it was not even a planet's worth close to this guy. But I'm telling you, that's what I saw, and because the decision I'd given was so ridiculous, I got away with it. People were obviously thinking, "Oh, referee's having a bit, or linesman's having a bit of a brainstorm. He's gone the wrong way." Heaven only knows what they would have thought if I could say to them, "No, I actually believe I've given the right decision," and it is as quick as that. Looking at something else, a player just gets right across your view or whatever. So I think most give what they believe they've seen.
Yeah, it's just that Poland player,
except
Blake, Rick, he were getting away with murder.
Nasty
Yeah.
piece of work.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was really nasty. And
Yeah.
at a game, we're getting so frustrated, it were untrue.
yeah, and again, I've refereed matches where assessors who were sat there and they logging everything. They were like the statisticians you get today, but they were doing it on their own bit of paper in stand, and they'd say after the game, did you know their number 4 committed 9 fouls during the game and you didn't caution him for persistent? And you'd say, no, actually I didn't, because it just doesn't hit you for whatever reason. It just doesn't hit you. So it may be sometimes, and the classic example, although this is totally out of context, right? I saw that UNICEF game with Jamie Carragher, who was being made to look an ass by the amateur celebrity centre forward, who on 2 occasions took him out. The second one being when he would have been through for his hat trick, and Clattenburg, the referee, just spoke to him. Now, even at that level, it demanded some further action to me. But that was Clattenburg saying, I'm not bothered what happens. I'm not going to be sending you off on a game like this today. And sometimes these referees at the top level, like most other sporting icons who start to believe that the sporting icons who are different to everybody else on the planet, they start to think, well, I'm refereeing this game, and I'm not going to be sending people off or whatever. And a lot of people, there's a Premier League referee currently refereeing on the Premier League who has said publicly, I will never ever caution anyone in the first 5 minutes.
Ryan,
I'll never ever caution anyone in the first 5 minutes because once you've done that, you're going to have a fight to keep everybody on the pitch. But that to me is like ridiculous, because you react to the offence.
Ryan, can I just interrupt? We've got less than a minute left.